Hello, everybody. Welcome to the JAKL podcast. Today we have with us James, which is me, Arya. If you'd like to introduce yourself, Arya.
Hello, I'm Arya, part of the JAKL podcast. Happy to be here. Happy to be living. Yeah.
Cool, cool. Kalvin, or Cal as we call him. If you'd like to introduce yourself, and go ahead, man.
Hey everybody, it's Kalvin. I'm the K in the JAKL, you know.
Sick. And Logan.
Shut the fuck up. I'm Logan. Ignore the G at the end. I'm the last in the JAKL acronym. And save the best for last.
Definitely. And I didn't introduce myself, but they call me the J Man or Jam or
do they now?
Or
James
is
our way of doing it. Yeah.
Sorry, no, that's perfect. So I'm gonna introduce the topic for us today, boys. Our topic today is basically if, when, why, and how to do with like film school. Like, should people go to film school? Why they should go to film school? Why they shouldn't? How they can get in? And where, like, in sort of geographically they should go. Obviously, we won't be talking about our own location just because we don't want to get fucking swatted. But yeah. So if anyone wants to start off, I'd be happy to. Yeah.
Fuck! It sounds like I should have done some research before this.
Well, we.
I'm just fucking with you. I don't know. I don't really have. You guys can start it off if you want. I gotta think about it a little bit. I gotta formulate my thoughts.
Definitely. So, do you boys have an idea? Because I wanted to. I don't really have like a strict idea, but I think that well, I do for the what, as in like, and sort of what and why. But if you guys want to chime in, or if you guys want to go first, you can go ahead. But I have an idea if you don't.
Definitely. I don't think film school is the only route you have to go through. It's not like, oh, this is the only way you can make it in the industry, you know? There's definitely other routes, whether you're just working as a PA or if you're just creating movies on your own and stuff with friends. Film school definitely isn't the only way to go about it, but I don't think it definitely doesn't hurt to go to film school. And especially if you're not very in the know about like the technical side of filmmaking, it's definitely a good way of learning, those hands-on experiences that you can't really learn from just watching video essays off of YouTube or something. So yeah, that's just kind of my 2 cents about it.
No, I agree, man. I think that, like, if you want, depending on the role you want to go into as well, like, if you want to be, like, I don't know, on the more technical side, like someone like a gaffer or maybe like a sound op or a grip or whoever you want to be, I feel like you don't really need film school, to be honest. I mean, even though they teach you a lot of that stuff, like, I feel like, I mean, we know people in real life who, like, have gotten into that, like, the technical side of film before film school or haven't even needed film school. Like, I think going as a production assistant or something is a way better route to that. But I mean, personally, for me, I think film school is the right way to go. Like, I think it definitely gives you those skills, and I think for me too, it's the connections that film school gives you, because the connections are so important in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that, like he said, I think it's like one thing I didn't know sort of going into it is about, like, I didn't know the specifics about guilds and like unions when it comes to like doing like AD or IC work. Like, if you don't know, that it's like assistant director or assistant camera work basically. Well, specifically AC work, you have to get like a certain amount of hours and days on set to be able to apply to those. So you could just essentially do that and you could have a job as an AC. Whereas if you go to film school, you're building up a repertoire that's like all this massive portfolio where you can say that you've done all these jobs, and you're basically eligible to like be able to do sort of bigger work, like I don't know, maybe ADing, even directing, writing, I'd assume, like all these different things, because that's what it's there for. And also obviously, like you said, networking is, and everyone uses that fucking term, but it's not that's not really what I'd call it, like making connections, sort of, because you're not, networking is just an oversimplification. It's like in the Flash. Bit of an oversimplification for it's actually it's wider.
It's whatever letter word too big for little minds.
Little minds. Perfect. Yeah, exactly. So, what are you gonna say? I think Cal's
I don't know who was gonna say anything, but I wanted to chime in about something you mentioned, James. It's the oversimplification. Aside from the meme part of it, I think that in what I've experienced so far in the film industry, a lot of times there is oversimplification for some stuff that there doesn't need to be. Because when you really look at it, there are so many different people doing what essentially connects to kind of similar jobs. If you get what I'm saying, like when I did script supervision, for example, it's something that that definitely you can get into if you want to, and I have respect for people who do get into it. But it's just sometimes I feel like for smaller independent productions, stuff like that, stuff like script supervision, or maybe even having both a first AD and a second AD or stuff like that. I feel like stuff like that oversimplifies it when it doesn't really need to be like that. Sometimes it's just about, going out there and making a movie and learning from the mistakes you make on that movie or from the good stuff you do on that movie. I think that's something that film schools need to kind of change a bit, kind of putting that into students' minds that the art is the most important thing about filmmaking.
Absolutely, man. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, they like in our film school, at least, they make you aim for sort of instead of aiming for the stars, you're aiming for a slightly high skyscraper, you know what I mean? In that you're not, they're like, oh, maybe you could be a production designer one day, maybe you could be on a union job or whatever, and it's like they're not generating enough passion to the point where they're accepting that. They're basically, they're catering it to sort of people who want it as a job and like as a career instead of as a passion, I feel like. I mean, there are exceptions to that, of course. Like one of our professors, who is all of our favorite professors, I'd say, all of our favorite professor. He is like, you can sort of tell he has passion. You can tell he actually works on real things as well, like on real sets, on real productions, on like, not that even matters, but in this case, it's just proof. It's like just evidence of sort of a professor who actually cares about like pivotal parts of the industry and like the world we're in, instead of just going, oh, maybe you can maybe you can be a DP one day and like have a shot list and go by that shot list and never veer off of it. Like,
Yeah.
I think that the reason it's that way, though, and I totally agree with what you're saying, but I just think it's like the reason it's that way is because there are so many, like, I mean, it's an expensive program, so I mean, they want to attract as many people as they can, even people who aren't actually really passionate about it. Like, I think one thing I've really noticed being in film school is like that there are a lot, I mean, not to be like, oh, I'm just I'm fucking amazing, I'm on like another level than these people, but it's like there are a lot of people though that are like they don't really know what they want to do in the industry, and I feel like they're the kind of people that are like, oh yeah, that would be a cool job, that'd be kind of a neat job to have, but they're not actually passionate about it. It feels like they're kind of just trying it out.
absolutely.
Which is like, it's not that I don't respect that you're giving it a shot and stuff, and I am giving it a shot. I think we're all giving it a shot. We don't there's no guarantee that we're gonna get out of even the indie filmmaking industry, but I just think that it's like, you know, that's why the program's designed the way it is because it's like they kind of have to cater to everybody to an extent, you know, and they
Definitely.
have to kind of give a lot of these people, because I'm sure like a bulk of the people that are in the program. I mean, I don't think we don't know every single person in the program, but I think like the majority of the people that are in the program probably aren't like super passionate. There are probably a lot of people that came in just kind of being like, yeah, I think that'd be an interesting industry to get into. So they're kind of trying to give them a taste for what everything's like. And then
Definitely.
there's people like us who like kind of have our eyes set on, you know, like writing and directing and especially in Arya's case, acting. And
Definitely.
like we know what we want to do, but there are a lot of people that don't. So like,
Yeah.
For what you said about that, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no. It's all good. You go, man.
Okay, it was just a quick thought, but for what you said about that, about some people who are just trying it out, I'm so envious of those people who, I guess, they must have the ability to try out, an expensive program like this
Yeah.
just for, finding out what they actually want to do in the film industry, Because for us, I think, like, we had to really think, okay, do we want to go into film industry? Do we and what do I want to do in it? Because this is an expensive program, to get into film. It's a long, tough road. So, yeah, I'm very envious of people who can, I guess, afford to just try it out.
Right. No, yeah. Absolutely, man. No, I totally get that. I think we all like had a moment there where before we entered it and we really thought about every aspect of it and maybe overthought it, just overthinking a lot of things. And I think that was like a pivotal part of, I'm saying pivotal a lot, but if you don't like that, you'll just have to deal with it, man.
I love that.
No, I've been enjoying using it.
It's pivotal for James to say pivotal. I can't even say it right. It's pivotal for James to say pivotal.
Exactly. It's the pivotal part of the pivotal. This is we're just rename it the pivotal podcast, guys. Like,
it's like, when you say a word so many times, it just starts to sound weird.
Yeah.
That's how that's sounding to me now.
It sounds like pelvis a bit. Like, it sounds weird now. You know what I mean? It sounds. Yeah. I totally feel you, because like we all had that thing, and that's the thing, was the expectation about film school. And this is one reason why I sort of wanted to like have this be our first topic, not only just to introduce like our sort of situation, but also to not warn people, but tell people that I mean, obviously our experience is entirely different because of COVID. I mean, we do have a mix of like in person and online stuff that we're lucky and grateful to have, but obviously that's gonna differ. But I don't know about you guys. I think I've heard it from every one of you guys that basically we had an expectation of film school to be basically like art school, in the sense of like you're able to actually express yourself, when really, like, in the first year at least, because we're just finishing our first year, just about finishing our first year. In the first year at least, it's quite the contrary. In fact, you will be treated, at least in our school and in our experiences, and we can only speak for that because we haven't gone to 20. I mean, you guys, Logan and Cal, have been to a different one, but me and Arya have only been to one. I think you've only been to one, right, Arya? This is your only.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we can only I can only speak from that experience, but I can say that it's purely technical in the sense of hands-on stuff for the first year, and don't expect to go into film school, right, directing this, writing this, shooting this, I'm going to use this to do this. Don't expect that. Don't do that to yourself, because you will be in pain. You will literally, you'll be dying. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely not as much, because going into it, I thought there'd be a lot more like, kind of like what you were saying, freedom of creative expression. And because of how our film school is like really structured with the way we do our classes, and also how we're able to, what kind of roles like we get to choose on like big group projects and stuff. And it definitely isn't perfect. And you don't really get that much of a creative outlook or creative outlet as you probably would hope for going into a film school.
Yeah. I agree. But I mean, I get why it is the way it is though, because it's like it just wouldn't be realistic for them. Like, I think we have like in our program we have like 100 people or something like that, or maybe even slightly
Mhm.
more. And it's just like I think that is something you'll get to do as like the people that aren't really passionate about it kind of drop out. Like they'll kind of just leave the program
Yeah,
because
they'll
it
go.
does happen. Like it's
They'll go.
just a fact of it. But anyway, sorry, you go.
No, it's all good. No, you're totally right. People do drop out, and like I think that is, uh, because of that. Like you said, basically, I think it's really really important, and I didn't do this very well, if I'm quite honest with you. But I'm still happy with the decision I make to went, blah blah blah, blah I made to go to the university we're going to, because I met you guys, and I wouldn't have. There's no. That's irreplaceable, for fucking fuck's sake. All right, I'm better now. That's irreplaceable. So I'm still happy about it, but definitely keep all your. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Look at the art schools. Don't discount the art schools. Don't discount all these, because those can give you the resources to make your film quicker, probably cheaper, and in a better way, as opposed to, you know what I mean, as opposed to being in this like guild like sort of thing where you know all these things, but you're gonna end up doing like Cybermen work. You're gonna end up like being ADs and being ACs and going off shot lists and like having to light things in a certain way and always using certain lenses and everything. So definitely think about what you want. I think that's the most important thing, because I'm gonna say right now, I didn't really, because I'd heard of word of mouth that the school was good. I didn't really look into it too much, and I knew a lot of people from my like a year ahead of me, like in the sort of same class, that it was a good school. So that was essentially, I didn't do that much, and the alternatives that I saw, at least, or I looked into, were crap, right? So it's like
They were.
most of them, but yeah.
Also, like, yeah. Oh, go ahead, man.
Okay, sorry, thanks. I just wanted to like add on to what you were saying, James. Like, it's it's definitely like more like Hollywood kind of industry based, where like other film schools, like Cal and I went to another film school in the area. Well, it's not a film school, but we went into one of the bigger schools in our city.
Technically, ours isn't either. Like, technically.
Yeah, I guess technically it's not. That's true. But it's like one of the bigger schools in our area, and we went to their film program, but it was more indie, and it felt like, if anything, at least from the classes that we took, that you were like training to be a film critic rather than a filmmaker. Like it was all theory and no practice. So this other school, that's why we switched from there to the one we're at now. Because it's just like, it's so much more, it actually focuses on the practice and the technical. Like, of course you have to have the theory in there. It's all important, but I don't think you should focus on one more than the other.
Can agree more.
Yeah, because that school, it seemed like everybody was just, not gonna lie, it seemed like everyone was just kind of pretentious, and everyone was just trying to be like these art house filmmakers. It's not like it's bad to be an art house filmmaker. I mean, it's like, I think that's really cool, but it didn't feel like anyone was really genuine about it. It felt like they had like seen art house filmmakers, like, oh yeah, I want to be that. That makes like it just seems like a lot of bullshit to me, to be honest, and it just really wasn't what I want to be part of. But
Definitely.
So I think that you got to know what you want, I guess, and I think that you can't just have theory or practice. You got to have both.
Absolutely. That's like the dream sort of university, like, is that experience. That's sort of what I had in high school, like at the sort of end peak of high school, was that exact thing, like a perfect sort of mix of those two things. Like absolutely. I think you wanted to say something, Cal, before Logan said something. If you wanna say that.
Oh, right. Yeah. I was just gonna add, like, don't just look at film school as if, just to get that degree or whatever. Because, like, not to say, because film school is kind of different compared to other programs. Not to say getting a degree is like useless or whatever. There's definitely valuable things to get out of film school, but just getting a degree doesn't really get you anywhere. To be brutally honest, like, if you were to get a film degree, it's not like you're gonna suddenly be able to start like getting bigger roles in productions or whatever. I think you should definitely look into film school as if you want to take out of it more, just out of like, okay, you're going to classes, you're doing the homework, you get to like, get some practice with the film equipment, but also just to look at it as if more of an opportunity to meet other people who are just as passionate about filmmaking as you are. And then you kind of get to do that kind of like networking thing you guys were talking about earlier, where you just have a really big, source of people who you now are able to like be like, just, hey, do you want to help me work on my next movie or something? You just have a greater pool amount of people who could help you with your movies. And it's kind of like this, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, where you could just help each other out with productions that you're working on, which is really cool.
Oh, sorry, no, you're so, like, that's the best thing about film school, I'd say right now. That's my favorite thing about it, is that in both senses, you're getting what you want, like, in life, basically, for me at least. Like, even just helping with the production, like, even, it does not matter what fucking role you are in that production. Like, you could be sort of a grip or anything, it's always going to be an independent production, so it's incredibly interesting to not only know that you're helping that person in like a really big way, because even being a grip is going to help so much with someone's production, especially in where we are, like independent filmmaking wise, but also you get to see how they work, you get to see how they do everything creatively, and you get to help them sort of deliver that, and you also get a new perspective on like how to do certain things, and like how they shoot whatever, and it's whatever they're shooting, whatever production they're shooting. I don't like to say show. I don't know why motherfuckers say show. Oh, the show I'm working on. Fuck off. Shut up. Like, it's so annoying.
Makes them feel important.
Yeah, exactly. It makes them feel like their life is consistent, but it is consistent. Just consistently depressing is the thing.
A friend of mine calls every movie he sees, that was a good show. Like, oh wow, what a show. Like, it's I always tell him why you say that. He never has an answer.
So he should just respond, oh, I went to the same film school you did. That'd be a great response. Yeah, I was around you for a bit, or I went into your or something. I went around the premises of your university, and then like a day later, oh, this show's great. This show I'm working on. No, that's a film. That's actually a film. I know it's a film. You told me it's a film. Oh no, the show is great. The show. No, it's not a show, for God's sake.
You just keep ignoring them. You're just like, no, it's this film I'm on. Oh, what show is it? It's not a show. It's a film. What are you saying? I don't. Is that English? Oh, you mean the show that you're on? Oh, yeah. You're gonna have to show me that show sometimes.
Sometimes. They say that too.
Yeah, it's their English. Their English language is just completely
different. It's an
different
evolved
from ours.
version of English.
Yeah.
It's beyond our understanding.
Yeah. Maybe I'm onto it a little bit. Maybe I'll start calling things shows.
Oh yeah. No, you have to, like, every time you watch Blade Runner 2049. Great show. Great.
Yeah. It's actually my favorite show of all time.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the next episode. I can't wait for it. It ended on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
I hope it's as good as this one. Oh, it costs money? It's not. It's a film. Wait. Oh, I thought it was a show.
Why do you guys? Why was the gap between the first and second episode of Blade Runner so long? It was like 30 years. Like, who's running the show over there?
First one didn't do so well in the ratings. So yeah, I know the heads of the network weren't happy with that.
Oh man.
Oh, well, you know what critics think are super important. So,
Oh yeah.
you know, maybe they shouldn't have made a second episode of the show if it didn't get reviewed well.
Oh no, yeah, no, absolutely.
I won't watch any show unless critics says it's good.
If I couldn't agree more, mate. If Rotten Tomatoes says 70% and up, I'm there. But if it doesn't, I'm out.
and fuck what
that's
the audience
obviously-
thinks.
Yeah. I live only to see Rotten Tomatoes new scores every week, or every day, I should say.
Yeah.
And me and Cal, what we do sometimes, we hang out. But what we do over Discord is we read letterbox reviews as if they're books, and just sort of like we're a married couple just sitting there reading books like leisurely. And just, oh, what did you think of this chapter? Oh, it was quite entertaining. How he compared Freudian senses to David Lynch. You know what I mean?
Man, the letterbox reviews are like the Bibles of filmmaking, honestly. You see like a 6-paragraph essay about Mulholland Drive or something. So interesting. My gosh, that gets my heart pumping every day.
That's a great movie. I really love that.
It's my second favorite film. My first one, if I'm honest with you, probably. Hold your horses. Hold your horses. It's probably David Lynch, the movie. It's actually where it's just David Lynch sitting around, and it's just a day of his life, and it's 24 hours long, by the way.
You know, our prof was a second unit AC on that. Yeah.
The second unit. So go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, I think he just did really well on his past movie Babylon 5. It's like, oh, let's get this guy. He's really good. Yeah.
See, we've reached a stage where we're calling shows movies now, so it's like it's the complete opposite.
Oh yeah, Babylon 5 is probably it's amongst my favorite things just in like life of all time. Like if I were to you know what I mean? Like if I was on my deathbed, I'm dying, I'm gonna die, grandson, I'm literally dying right now, I'm going to pass away. And they're like, mate, okay, listen up, mate. What's your favourite thing of all time ago? Babylon 5! Well, it's quite obvious, I would not hesitate. You know, like that's what I do. I don't know about you guys, but...
Yeah. Well, in the will, you got to specify, like, I want all my grandchildren, I want all my kids to watch that movie in memory of me every year. Because that's how I want them to remember me, is through that movie.
The best film of all time. I mean, I think God, if he came down, you know, first thing he'd do is go, get me a copy of Babylon 5, boys. You know what I mean? I think that's what would happen, you know, realistically.
You could definitely create a cult around that movie. Just like it'll be even bigger than the Snyder Cut cult, guys. It's crazy.
Are you guys not a part of the Babylon 5 cult?
Oh, wait.
You're acting like, well, I can't talk about it much on the podcast because, you know, number one rule.
Let's just say it's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
Definitely. We'll leave it at that.
But yeah, after the podcast, we got an we got an indoctrination to go to.
We gotta indoctrinate shit.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, absolutely. All right, boys. What else were we gonna... So we basically covered what, who. We didn't cover how, though. We did not cover how, so...
Like how to get into it?
Yeah,
school, or
yeah, exactly.
Apply.
Yeah, I know, but it's not that easy.
I think
it's definitely not easy.
I think though.
Come.
That's a nice reference, but I think that in regards to the how, I guess this kind of relates to what we said earlier. You know, make sure to do research on whatever film school or film program you're going to get into, because it never hurts. It never hurts to know as much about it beforehand as possible, because the thing is, the key word there is school. You know, no matter what program or school you go to, there's going to be stuff you do there that you're not going to love, you know, that you didn't come there for. Like for us, for example, next year we got to take some math courses and science courses in addition to our film courses, and I never expected that. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing with work and school. Yes, you're going to be able to, you work hard enough, eventually do what you love, or maybe you're doing it already, but there's still going to be stress that comes with that to perform that well, to do what you want to the level that you're comfortable with. It's a part of it. It's about, working with that part of it, and accepting it, that really, they can truly make you love what you're doing. And I think, yeah, but again, the way that relates to all this is just look into it more. Just look
Yeah.
into it as much as you want, and make sure, this is what you want. And it's only one of the many routes you can approach for going into filmmaking.
Don't be like James. Research it. I'm just kidding. I did the same. Just so you know, I actually did the same thing as James. I didn't. Just like side note, I didn't research. Film
I
school.
did.
Like I wasted.
Oh well, actually, sorry, go.
I barely researched. I ended up wasting like $4,000 on tuition for like a year at the other school I was at before I found the one we're at now.
Oh, okay.
But it's like, so don't be like me.
Exactly.
I mean, I got to the right place, but
Sorry, no,
it's
exactly.
like, yeah.
Right. Yeah. No. I know what you mean. Like, there's a big difference. I get what you mean now. Like, there's a big difference between researching and researching an abundance of different schools. Because you can just research one school and be like, oh, I know that's exactly where I want to go. Like, I already know. And you go in and you're like, well, I was wrong. You know what I mean? You sort of feel it in the air. It's like Phil Collins. So you just have to. Also, this is imperative. Like this, I know you guys know what I would say if we were on a podcast, but that's going to be too big of a hint. We've already said Babylon 5, so I mean, anyway.
Great movie, by the way.
Oh well, yeah. I think we just love that. That has nothing to do with it. I think Babylon 5 just is. I watched it and then I had to I ran to each of your guys' home, broke code rules, came into your house, smashed into your house, and went, "You gotta watch Babylon 5, boys. You gotta watch it." And then everyone in that situation was just not prepared for it, but it was. I think you guys can agree that was.
I was actually sleeping, and there was like a cool breeze that came into my room, and it kind of woke me up, and I kind of just was half asleep, half awake. And when I noticed a figure in the corner of my room, it was pitch black, and I could just see the glare in his eyes through the light coming in my window, and I just heard this whisper, and it was British, and he was just like, "Hey, you seen Babylon 5 yet? You tosser?" And I was like, "Who the fuck is it?" And then he's like, and then he just disappeared into the darkness. He just subsided into the shadows, and I never saw him again. And until the next day when I went to school.
Did you say you have a nice coat?
Well, he asked me what kind of coat I had, and he asked if it was a raincoat, and I very happily answered him and said, "Yes, it is."
Excellent. See, for me, I thought it was just my sleep paralysis, but I'm glad it was you instead.
Yeah. Well, see, James is your sleep paralysis demon.
Yeah.
Well, that would explain a lot.
Yeah. He's actually not even on the call. We're all in sleep paralysis right now. He happens to be all of our sleep paralysis.
God, that
What a
would
weird
be
coincidence.
terrifying.
And the only thing he does though is he asks you if you've seen certain movies.
Not certain movies, just Babylon 5.
Oh, mostly Babylon 5, yeah.
No, yeah. I think it's definitely it's definitely important to sort of cut you off there, Cal, but it's definitely important to because basically what I did was, because I didn't do a wide research, but it was a good thing in a way. I knew what courses I had to take at the end of my secondary school years, so that I wasn't worrying about that. So that's something if you guys are younger, definitely, or you're maybe a year younger. It sounds obvious and it sounds fucking dumb, but it's a good Nirvana song, by the way. Recommend it.
I guess.
I was just happy. Definitely look into that because because you have to know, otherwise you're. Oh, I should have taken like calculus. Oh well, you know what I mean. You're screwed. Or you take it in university, and then you've got an overload of courses, and then you're even more screwed. In fact, like you're
Look,
better off.
listen, if you take calculus in general, you're screwed. So.
I mean, you're not wrong, fam.
But
God.
continue.
No. That was about it. Honestly, just like make sure you're, and also the imperative thing. I think this is the reason I got in. Try to bond with teachers that you really like, and get a reference letter, because reference letters for school, like for university particularly, are a gold motherfucking mine. Like if you have that connection with like a certain teacher, you know, I'm not trying to say you should use them, but I'm just saying like try to like at least try to like have a connection. If you can't and they're bellends, then you can't actually I didn't try, or at least like be, don't like burn all your bridges, like as one of our professors said at the beginning of the year, because like with teachers, because you might be able to get that reference letter that will like get you into, even if you don't have good grades, like some universities you might not have the best grades ever, if you have a reference letter like that, that's like basically put your chances up so much, I believe. So definitely like think about that, and yeah,
Also, one thing, if I may chime in,
go for it, man.
don't be a dick. Don't be a penis, as one of our professors said. But seriously, don't be a dick, because there are a lot of people like in film programs. You know, you get these people who think they're like big shit. They're, you know, like the next, you know, Scorsese or something, or Tarantino, and you know they're just assholes to everybody else. They condescend them all the time. You deal with multiple people. I mean, you deal with people like that in any job, but I mean, it just seems like it's like film students. There's like a special breed, like sub-breed of film students that are just like assholes. I think you guys can all attest to that. But it's like, don't be one of those people. Like, humble yourself, because it's like everyone's learning. Everyone's at different stages of learning. That's another thing. Is like, you know, don't be comparing yourself to everybody all the time, because you're all learning at different rates. But you know, everybody's learning, so don't be an asshole. Like, you know, be friendly to people, because you never know. Like, you know, you could end up graduating film school with one of those people, and they could turn out to be someone who's really talented. And then, but it's like you're a dick, and they don't like you, so it's like you burn your bridges with them. You know, it's like, and you know, in the film industry, and I know this because I know people that are in the industry. Actually, I know people that have worked on big productions like Disney and Netflix and Warner Bros. And stuff, and it's like I've learned this from them, and they've said like people who are dicks don't get work. Like, unless you're like majorly talented, you know, maybe people will be able to put up with you. But especially now, like in Hollywood, you still have people that it's like, you know, assholes don't get work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they won't get work. You know, you're not going to get work if you're an asshole, really, unless you're like, you know, like a god. So I don't know. That's all I gotta say.
Also,
Yeah.
it's like if they truly believe they're the next Tarantino or Scorsese or whatever, it's like, why are they in film school then? You know, because like obviously they want to learn, obviously they want to, you know, build up on their own knowledge of filmmaking and stuff. And when you have that type of mentality, it's like you're kind of going against your own beliefs or whatever. You know, it's like obviously they aren't as good as they think they are, but they're not willing to admit it. You know.
Absolutely, man. Like I was kind of egotistical at the end of like secondary school, in that, like, basically because of that. Like I think a lot of people were this way, in that they were like the best person, like the most knowledgeable person in their films, like class, for example, and like everyone sort of like came to them for advice and everything, and I was sort of like that person, so I was really egotistical. But then when I came to, well, I wasn't egotistical, I just like, it's just that environment, because it's like a smaller environment, I suppose. is different, and you sort of react a different way in that environment, and you're seen in a different way in that environment, so that it's a different experience. So that when you have to let go of that, as soon as you sort of, no one's better than anyone else. No one, because it's not possible to be better than anyone else, because it's fucking art. It's subjective. You can't be better about something that's like subjectively you can connect. Different people connect to it. Some people don't connect to it. You know, some people see it as like not very good or whatever. But you can't like compare to that subjectivity, because everyone's different. Everyone has a different life. Everyone's lived a different life. So like I totally agree. Just don't be that person who sees themselves as, in a way, as a way to soothe their insecurities, sees himself as a god, basically sees himself as like the new Scorsese and like the new Kubrick or whatever, and then basically like you said, burn your bridges and don't get these incredible experiences to work with really funny, talented, smart people. Even outside of JAKL, I've worked with those people, and I'm sure you guys can agree in that you just don't like, obviously people are going to be assholes, but just be better than them. Be in the sense of be an adult. Like, you have to be an adult. Trust me when I say that I've not wanted to act like an adult, and like wanted to get really angry, and wanted to act like a sort of let my ego and my like be a bit of a baby boy myself, but that's just like an early lesson for you all, you know. I don't know why I went Texan, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Definitely.
It's so true. I mean, we're all dicks and JAKL, obviously, so, you know, we're like the reserved group of them. No, I'm kidding, but no, I think it's like, you know, if you're a dick, like try to take the cues from people. Maybe you don't realize you're being an asshole, but try to take the cues from people, because you know you are gonna end up burning bridges whether you actually mean to. So
Yeah, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot by doing that, and it's like, I don't know, word gets around pretty quickly, and no one's gonna want to work with you if you're not really being genuine, or like if you're being an asshole. People are gonna find out about it, but not just the people we were working with, but like they're gonna word gets around pretty quickly, especially in the film industry, and you're not gonna find yourself like having any possibility of getting a further career in the industry by doing that.
definitely.
And not to
Absolutely.
say that. Oh, go ahead.
No,
I was just gonna. Oh, yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. Anyways, go ahead.
Not to say that if you have done that in the past, that okay, you're screwed, no more jobs forever. If you truly, if you do regret that, and if you do wanna change and approach things differently, there's always, I think, people do give second chances to people who truly mean it, who work for forgiveness and for just a different chance. So I think even if you have done that in the past, there's nothing's gonna be. I don't think it's fair to label anyone as like, oh, this person's a dick forever, or this person's like a bad director forever, or this person's gonna be late forever. People are people. They're humans. They can always improve, or sometimes fall apart. But I think that's what we sometimes forget. We look at people like labels a lot of times. I think we
So
need
true,
to
man.
do less of that.
I so agree with that. There's always time to change. You know, you just gotta work to make that change happen.
absolutely. And like
Judge
we've,
people that quickly. Sorry, go ahead.
oh no, it's all good, man. Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, I just kind of said bones. I just said, like, there's always time to change, and you shouldn't judge people like so quickly. Even if someone does, you know, do something. I don't know, not do something bad exactly, but like, because there are things that maybe shouldn't be forgiven, the extreme things. But it's like people do make mistakes, and there is people should have chances to become better, and we're not defined by our mistakes always.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, yeah. Like if they've murdered someone, obviously.
Yeah. or
You know.
done some kind of sexual
Yeah.
assault. There's lots of cases of that where it's like, that's kind of almost a mistake that can become pretty unforgivable. But
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That can be hard to forgive, definitely. It can be really, especially for the victims as well. Anyway, we're not going to go into sexual assault today. Not today. We'll cover that later. No, I'm joking.
look out for the JAKL sexual assaults discussion special coming up whatever week.
Exactly, yeah. No, that's that. We'll cover that in we'll cover that in next week's episode, guys, or next
You
month's
gotta pay
episode.
for the extra top tier to get that episode.
Yeah. That will drop on a different website also, just to give you guys an
Oh,
Oh, Jesus.
Oh god. Yeah. Anyway, I we've had examples. I was just gonna say we've had like direct examples where basically that exact thing has happened in that people have been just assholes and just it's really frustrating to just even look at them, and like after they've done some things it's not like terrible things, but after like working with them, for example, professional composure is like it's out the window, but they've improved as like people, and we've realized as people they're good people. They just have flaws like fucking everyone else, you know. Everyone has things that they regret. Everyone has things like, and if you say, oh, I don't, you will. That's the fact there, but you will. Once you grow up even a little bit more, you will have those things, even if you don't have them now. Everyone has those things, so you have to realize that most of the time, like 90% of the time, behavior isn't necessarily equivalent to that person. Like their behavior doesn't always reflect who they are, like as an individual. It really doesn't. You know, a lot of things are just impulsive or not thought through properly, or it's just people can't, you know, they can't control it, or they can't they don't know how to work with it, and they're not mentally, they're like might be mentally ill or anything. They might have a disability, whatever. Or any of the, not whatever is in, forget about it. Whatever is in, whatever those options are. So like, you know, you don't. Sometimes you don't even know yourself, let alone someone else. You know, so definitely keep that in mind, and don't be that person who like does something unforgivable. I mean, people often don't do things unforgivable on purpose, so I can't really say, oh, don't do it. But what I mean is like just like keep your blinders on, be focused on what you want in life, like
Be
just
aware.
in life. Yeah, be aware. Be like the higher consciousness, you know, like try and be aware of everything you do. You might not be able to do that all the time. I know I'm not, but at least attempt to do it, and that's what will make people go, hold on, this person's actually like lovely to be around, you know. I enjoy being around this person, and not everyone wants to be around people all the time. A lot of people are introverted, but it's still nice to have. It's still like something that's sort of like will make you like happier and more content. So yeah, do you guys have any more on that, on like, I think it was who?
Yeah.
Or like how or something?
I was just gonna add into your thing that I think like mental health is just really important too.
definitely.
I think it's like, you know, I don't know if you can really use mental health as an excuse for like everything bad that you might do, but I think it's definitely something you should be aware of. And I think for guys especially, it's like, you know, mental health, like men's mental health isn't really focused on very much. Some people kind of just seem to have this impression that guys just don't, you know, need to worry about their mental health, and you know that we should just be fucking perfect all the time. And I think that's a very false perception. I think that you should definitely keep, you know, an eye on yourself, and you know, seek help or have people there to support you, you know, or something like that. Like vent, talk to people. It is important. Like
Absolutely.
check yourself.
Yeah, because we all carry that like emotional baggage. It's not like no one's perfect, and it's impossible to be completely like to not have emotions attached to expectations or whatever you're doing, right? And yeah, I think seeking help definitely is something that should be it shouldn't be stigmatized as much as it is. It's still kind of stigmatized nowadays.
Yeah.
It's crazy because like, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with seeking mental health. You know,
No, absolutely not. And
Mhm.
the thing is that so many people, more than the ones who do seek help, there are so many more who try to hide it or keep it in. I think it takes a lot more strength to go and seek help and to talk about it than to hide it. I think that's a much stronger thing to do.
Very true, man. Very true.
Very, very true. Couldn't agree more. It's
Mhm.
your professors or your, you know, some people might treat you like garbage. I know mine's like, people are insensitive is the fact. They might have some excuse for it, but people don't expect people to like be think like sort of be as sensitive as you are, because often they won't be. That's just sort of how it is. But sort of realize that uh, they're not doing it out of actual anger for your being. They're doing it because it's a default. It's like it's a glitch in their behavior in a sense, where like they've probably had like a bunch of anxiety or worry all day, and then
Mhm.
they burst. You know, they can't control themselves any longer, and we all have that. So to just keep that in mind as well. Don't expect everyone to be sort of like uh, people self-medicate, people drink a lot, people do drugs. Like don't expect to go into a world where it's not Gotham City and Joker, you know, because it kind of is a bit. So
I don't think you should rely on one thing to help yourself. I'm not saying that's what you were saying, Arya. I'm just saying like I don't think you should like you got mental health issues, like you should just do exercise and expect that to fix you. You know, it does take a combination of things. Like you need to talk to people. You know, you need to work on kind of loving yourself a little bit. You know, like that's important. You can't get
I,
better if you hate yourself. You know.
sorry, yeah, no, absolutely. I just want to chime in and say, yeah, like I'd see like my definition of self medication would be, instead of accepting your problems and trying to change your problems and try to see them as problems, you're basically saying, okay, this thing will stop my problems. For me at least, sort of when I did exercise, uh, and sort of meditation is accepting, like it is basically, instead of like relying on it, which I'd say I probably do. You're basically, instead of trying to fix your issues instantly and like, oh, okay, this habitual thing will do, you know, this will solve my issues. You're basically saying, these are just problems. They're not me. They're not like who I am. You know, I can move past them. I think that would be like, yeah, because like that's what people do. They genuinely believe that if they drink more and if they get that high, they're basically gonna be better, and they never are. Right? It's like the non acceptance. That's what I define like self medication as. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like they're looking
it's.
for. Oh,
Sorry,
no,
Kalvin. Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're talking. My bad.
Yeah, it's all
Fucking
good.
Discord.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, it's basically they're looking for forms of escapism, right? They don't want
Yeah.
to think about the shit that's going on during their week, and you know their only form of getting away from that is trying to find things that kind of like, you know, basically stupid. I don't know how else to say it, but like, you know, dumbify their brain, right? Like ways of getting themselves not to think, whether it's alcohol or drugs or something. And all it does is it just puts you in a bigger void. It just puts you in a bigger hole, and it creates, while it's like a short term fulfillment, it creates long term problems by doing that.
And yeah, and like you guys have been saying, like it's never gonna solve your problem. Like it might postpone it, you know, or whatever, but it's not actually ever gonna fix your issues.
Exactly.
And also, everyone's got issues, so it's like, you know, don't compare yourself to other people in that way. Like just everybody's dealing with something, whether you can see it or not.
Yeah, and I think you shouldn't. I think it's healthier not to look at it as if I need to solve this problem or I need to fix this issue.
Yeah.
You know, it's not gonna it's either not gonna go away overnight, or it's something that, you know, you sometimes gotta accept and use to, okay, how can I make this better with myself? You know, how can I make myself better using this, or how can I work up towards this, or, you know, do different things to approach this, instead of saying, okay, how can I make this go away? You know, I think yeah, you're just exhausting yourself in an unhealthy way if you're solely focused on getting rid of your problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
Very
That's
true, man.
very wise. So yeah. Absolutely. So
That was some deep talk there, man.
that was great. That was great. That was very true from all of us as well. I don't mean to cut in. I was.
Well, you did.
Shut up!
Sad.
Sad. So we've done why, we've done who, we've done Doctor Who, we've done how, we've done what. So basically when. I'm gonna just say when, because I'm just gonna say it like it's simple for me, so I'm just gonna say it really quickly. When, for me, as soon as possible. Like just go to film school. For me at least, it was like, I'm gonna go to film school now. It was like a quick thing. That was for me, but don't compare yourself to me, because everyone has their own path, and don't listen to people. Oh, you gotta get a job, you gotta work up the ladder, it's shut up. It's not your life to lead. You can't tell people how to lead their life. You can't choose someone's like their path and their like sort of the way they decide to live their life and the way they know or think is better for them. They do not listen to them.
Don't let someone live through you.
Exactly. No, exactly. Like, don't let someone basically, I have strings, but now I'm free, but you won't be fucking free.
What an out of nowhere reference.
Straight.
I think that was the first time we've brought up Age of Ultron.
Maybe that's the new inside joke. Right here. You saw it, folks, right here on the JAKL podcast.
The first JAKL inside joke.
Yeah.
No, it's just because you want to replace the Snyder jokes. That's it.
Yeah. Too much oversaturation of the Snyder jokes.
Good.
More like not enough.
Aha! Yeah, no.
You know, Arya, you're just a puppet of Snyder. The difference is I can see the strings.
Oh.
There are no strings on me.
Oh.
I think that was a bit of a Watchmen impression, or not impression. Joke I made reference there. I'm pretty sure it's a line from Watchmen.
I haven't seen Watchmen in a while.
Not Zack Snyder's Watchmen. Book Watchmen.
Oh.
Book is better, folks.
Yeah, that's true.
Snyder's not a god, okay? He just makes dark movies that look really nice and
are sometimes really good.
are sometimes good, but sometimes they're also shit.
That's
He has his
different.
moments.
I mean, so, yeah.
Yeah, so that's my 2 cents on him. Don't hate him. Don't love him. He's all right. You know?
Got it.
Got it.
Yeah. So if you guys wanna chime in on the when part, you can go right ahead. Or actually, no, you can't. I'm gonna censor you, boys. I'm gonna cancel you and censor you.
What? I didn't catch that.
Go ahead and I was just saying you can give your when someone should go to film school, your version of that, your perspective of when you decided, oh, okay, this is when I'm gonna go.
Do it when you think you're ready.
Yeah.
You know,
don't push it back. You know, when you're ready, yeah. But sometimes you can go into the habit of saying, "Oh, I'm not ready now because of this," or "I'm not ready now because of this." In a year's time, then I'll be ready. No, if you truly look at your situation and truly look at, okay, is there anything else I could be doing? Is there anything else that I need to do before this to prepare me? Or is it just the fear talking of, maybe not liking it, or it not being like how I want it to be? If it's that, then, I'd say go for it. But if not, if there are legitimate reasons, you think maybe I should wait out a bit, then yeah, but yeah, in total, when you're ready, but don't push it back.
Yeah, things are never gonna be perfect, buddy. you're never gonna get that absolute perfect situation. It's just you kind of just gotta go for it, and don't give up just because things get hard, or or there's pressure, or if it's just not exactly what you thought it would be. Don't, if you're truly passionate about something, you know don't postpone it. Don't let yourself get stuck in some dead end job that's not anything near what you wanted to do.
Definitely.
If you want to do something, do it.
Yeah. No, I just laughed because the reason I laughed is because
Say it.
no, it's because you said buddy after it, like you were sort of I related to that because I sort of did the same thing, like you said it like you were talking to a person. It was a good meme. It was great. I enjoyed it. I sort
You're
of did
a good
the same
meme.
thing. Thanks, mate. All right. Well, I think honestly it's a good place to end it because we've basically covered everything. We don't want to go over time. We don't want to like push our first podcast to like be too long. So from all of us, from the JAKL team, we'd like to say thank you for your contributions to just our channel in general. Checking our stuff out, going on Patreon and sort of even just, we don't care about Patreon as much, of course. Like you don't have to, obviously, but like just enough. It's enough to just be there basically. And
Can I chime in?
Go for it, man.
I just want to say that like we're not doing the Patreon because we're a bunch of greedy bastards and want to profit from this. Like when we started JAKL, and this is true, we all went into it wanting to do it for our experience and for our future careers. Like this company is like an investment to us for us. All the profits we're making are going into making our films better. So whether that be like higher budget or paying people to make our things better, like we have people who we know who are very talented, like artists and editors and people who make like our logos and our title cards for our movies, and those are people that we do want to support. Obviously we don't have that kind of like capital right now, but it's something we want to do. So I want everybody to know that it's like we're in this for the art. Like we said, we're in this for the experience, and the profit is just a byproduct of that we hope can just make our own work better, and hopefully this will further our careers in the future. But
Definitely.
we just want to be able to do what we love, and for those who can support us, it's like we appreciate it so much because it allows us to do what we love, I guess. So
Absolutely. No, yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. I think that's we're not sort of like you said, we're going into it so that we're able to show how grateful we are for the small or massive things people are doing. Well, for them it might be small things for our film, but we want to show that it's bigger than that and that it's important for our films. And the way we want to do that is obviously through profit, because like that's the way it's done, sort of. And obviously if we get a bit of money as well, we can do it through Crafty, and like we can feed our people on set. Either way, like just being able to do that is the dream, is and that's why we do it. So when we're on set and when we're doing our films, we're able to show how grateful we are, and we're able to, because we all love it so much, we want to, at least for me, that's how I see it, is that it's a way of us showing that we are seeing how much people are, like how much work people are putting in, and we appreciate it, whether that be like coming out like sort of 2 hours away or sort of like having to change their schedule or whatever thing they do, even if it's a small thing, we're appreciative, and we want to show them that basically, and also obviously make our films better as well. And like just have
and we try to get back to you guys too as much as we can. Like, that's why we're doing this, like the podcast and all the other Patreon bonuses. Like we're trying to get as much as we can to give back to you guys and make it actually worth your while if you enjoy our stuff.
Exactly, because that's, you know, we obviously won't be able to make everything sort of like completely free, but like most things we want to make free because we want to just show people, and we know how much, because we're all film lovers anyway, so we know how it's like, oh, I can't watch that film, that's really annoying, I have to pay for it, like, you know what I mean? We all know that sort of struggle, so we don't want to do that to you guys. But when it comes to like some things like early access stuff, like I think this podcast is going to be an early access Patreon thing, and like sort of that sort of thing is it's like a way of us saying thank you basically, and also like audio commentaries and everything, but yeah.
And yeah, and it really is just 4 of us. It really is, like, when you see it's JAKL, it's really is just the 4 of us. I mean, there are other people that help us out, like I had mentioned earlier, but I mean, like, all this stuff, like all the behind the scenes and all the Patreon like benefits and everything like that, that is just us. Like, and you know, we got school that's making us broke. We got some of us got work on the side as well. So it's like, you know, we are taking like our free time and like trying to put work into this to show how much we appreciate it all, you know.
Exactly. All right.
From all of us to all of you.
So what you said?
You. I just said from all of us to all of you. Thank you for watching.
Yeah. It's been James, Arya, Kalvin, and Logan for the JAKL podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. We really enjoyed it. It's a great first episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. So yeah, peace out.
Bye.